was so funny. Everybody was dropping this Obama giving this own medal meme because basically they are competing on their own benchmark against some other models.
Their IP was the ability to subsidize pro users. And the guy goes on, we have 20 million users. How many million pro accounts did you give out, my friend? Where did I get my pro thing from? Got it from Mercury Bank. I had a benefit. It was like at the bottom of the benefit list of something that I'm paying, like my accounting firm. Oh, by the way, you get 1 year free Perplexity.
Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Watch Out podcast. This is the March edition of Watch Out.
I'm honestly doing amazing. You saw the latest stats on the podcast. We are super happy actually. Like a lot of people commenting, liking. Please keep going with it. It allows us to be motivated to do these things.
We had a wow moment with our last pod. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was kind of an inflection point for us. If you look at the graphs, we're looking at better results, and we're really happy with that organic reach. I think that we are very real, and we bring something to the table that other podcasts don't. So if you haven't yet subscribed, do. We work with this stuff every day. We're not like your Instagram guys. I've been on Claude is the way.
It's changing everything.
Yeah, those guys.
It's over.
I wonder if they got paid to get on and start talking about Claude. Hey, I just switched from GPT to Claude. Bro, I've been saying that for the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
2 years. I've been, and I stopped paying GPT a few months ago. I'm going on and on Anthropic. Moving to our first topic. Well, I just like to do the chit chat actually at the beginning, and it will transition into the first topic. What are you doing, Emmerich, today? Everybody's interested in your workflow and how things are changing. What does a software developer today look like? What is the job? What tools? What is your workflow? When you open your Mac at whatever time, if it's at night or in the morning, what are you doing?
But I have to say, so I think in that pod, I am usually the most pessimistic. I've never been so optimistic because I think the tools are getting so good. Nowadays, I can just chat and make work without actually opening any IDE. I never have to open Cursor. I never have to open Visual Studio Code. You can just chat with different tools that I have at my disposal. Of course, OpenClaw. I don't want to get into the hype of OpenClaw, but what OpenClaw enables is that you can control your IDE just from the chat. And so you could theoretically just open multiple chats with your OpenClaw and start working on multiple things at once. The problem is I am super biased. Cursor is good, but there is one thing that I really like right now at Google, and it's Google Anti-Gravity. And I know people, it's not the most popular or anything, but they have this concept of artifacts that you edit and that you update. And so basically you can, so I don't know if you've ever done this kind of workflow, Remy, but let's listen to me. You just ask for something to the agent, and the agent give you a plan, and you review the plan. So I guess you're doing this in Claude Code all the time, right?
Yes, it was the case. I would say it's a bit less the case. I do review plans quite often. I don't know what's happened, but Anthropic has reduced the plan triggering. At some point, it was triggering plans for anything, which was small, big, whatever. Right now, a lot less. But yes, I'm still doing that.
And so I do still enjoy having this level of plan to just make sure the AI is steering in the correct direction. Before letting the AI go in a long time, it can be 10 hours work, but before letting it go, I like to just review the plan. And also when it's finished, it's creating a walkthrough artifact, and I can review the walkthrough artifact. And so what I want to say is I do not look at code at all. I personally do not look at the code at all, almost. I don't know about you, Remy. Are you actually looking at code nowadays?
We had this discussion, for everybody, we went to Austin, South by Southwest. We were there with Emmerich. We had a good chance to speak and to talk to some developers over there and to see what they are working on. We had chats ourselves, and I was saying that I look at the names of the files. That's where my thing stops. I look at the names of the files and I see, oh wait, there's like 2 files with the same name. What the fuck are you doing, Claude? Oh, I'm sorry. And then it starts to, I'm sorry. And then we get back on track. I don't open the files. I have stopped opening up IDEs for many reasons. Actually, we can get into this topic. All right, let's just double click on this one right here. Emmerich, what is the size of your computer? And how many terminals do you have open? And do the fans turn on ever?
Yeah, when I'm gaming, well, like, no, but like actually, I have a super small laptop. I'm using a MacBook Air. Yeah, I know you
Solid.
might be happy about this, but it's like super light. It's like 1 kilo. I can like hold it with one hand, and I can do everything with it. I can run like 10 agents. I do not usually run 10 agents. I run like, I would say, around 4 at the same time. But I run my 4 agents. I know you do differently, but I run it through chat mostly. So that's it. I have threads in chat, and I just run it through chat. So it can be Slack, it can be Google Chat, it can be everything. That's my personal UX of choice. I saw that you have these 4 terminals. Like, why do you have these 4 terminals open all the time?
All right, now we're getting into it. You asked me, first of all, do I open up any code? No. I don't open up IDEs. IDEs were taking up too much RAM. All right. I had too many projects open and the RAM was going out of the wazoo. And I said, okay, I'm going to be very bare bones. I'm going to open up my terminal and run Claude straight from the terminal. So I started doing that with one of my projects. Guess what? It's so easy just to do Command N or Command T to open up a new terminal. Now, I have just closed IDEs completely and I run a quadrant, and I've seen people do this online where you have upper right side, front end, upper left side, back end, or, if that's actually pretty stupid to do that. You should be running front end, back end in the same project. They should be a full stack project. If you're running different projects, then right, left, then you have some kind of thing going on at the bottom, then you have something else that's not even a project. It's just your Claude that is doing research for you and creating PDFs and whatever. You have that at the bottom. I have a quadrant, 4 black screens, and I'm just boom, 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 boom. And I'm advancing at speeds that you cannot imagine. It's like a trader. You had those traders back in the day. They would have Bloomberg terminals open up everywhere, and they'd be launching these trades and doing research straight from all these panels. I feel like this, but like I'm operating 5 businesses right in front of my screen, just like shooting. Oh, this needs to be this way. Come back with something better. Create a PDF, send an email. We're just shooting at speeds that are unheard of, to be honest. Like, I don't know what the next step is. I cannot foresee the next step. Maybe the next step doesn't have a screen, and we're just actually, Emmerich, I saw a guy on Twitter, because on Twitter you see the craziest stuff.
Yeah.
Who has
sometimes too much.
The guy has an open source project. I mean, if the guy watches this thing, please hit me up. That thing is crazy. It's a visual intelligence tool that looks at where your eyes are pointing on the screen. And if he coded, if the right eye blinks, it means enter. If the left eye blinks, it is no.
Wait, can you blink one eye? Yeah, okay. I'm less good at this.
You would have to train that. That's like a muscle.
Yeah.
And so imagine this. So the guy has 4 terminals, and he's just looking at it, reading it, blink, looking at it, reading it, blink. And he's advancing at speeds. The paraplegic people who cannot move their arms, now they're going to operate 10 businesses because their IQ is just like beyond the roof.
Yeah, they like, I don't know if you've seen some demos of Neuralink, but some people like play video games randomly with Neuralink from Elon Musk, and so you could theoretically like do exactly as you said with Neuralink and like be super efficient.
You have these Claude Code terminals that you're just like blinking, and you're like, fuck, what is this guy doing? He's scaring me. You're going to be thinking, not saying anything, looking at the camera. You blink and some crazy shit happens in the room. That's the future right there.
So what I think is all of this is really enabled by, I would say, like the recent wave of LLMs, I would say. And that will actually what we were going to talk in our next topic.
Yeah, so I wanted to get into something that we had a discussion on last week, which was the compound effect of intelligence. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Let's be pretty basic, and then let's go into the topic a bit more. So what do I mean by compound of IQ, right? What I mean is that you have models today that are in different tiers. There are 3 tiers. You have your very small models, right? They'll get you by until they'll do something really, really, really stupid. And then you're like, okay, this model is a small model. I will not give my money to this model. That model has very small intelligence. Then you have the middle range. They have your best bang for your buck. All right. We're going to get into that. This range is the most important stuff, right? Then you have your largest models today, which are the massive brains that run operations. I think Anthropic has it pretty much perfectly here. You have Haiku, which is the small one, Sonnet, which is the medium one, and Opus, which is the large one. Haiku is great for doing small little tasks like edit this file, read this file, summarize, organize these small things together. But it doesn't think, it just does what you say. It's able to take what the master says and do it efficiently. And it is pretty smart for a small model. It is damn smart and damn cheap as well. Now, the theory that me and Emmerich are talking about here is the compound of intelligence. You want to save as much money as you can while running your systems, but you want to have the highest level of intelligence. That is that if you have a graph, you want high intelligence, low cost. That is what everybody's looking for. Now, the thing is, Sonnet today is priced at, as you can see on the screen, $3 for the input, $15 for output per million token. Million token is the basic unit of measurement for a cost of intelligence. Ever since Anthropic came out with Claude 4.6, they were able to bring down the cost.
Yeah, it's always the same. No, but they all got the same.
Like crazy.
See, at 3.5, I think they had the same pricing.
No, Emmerich, 4.1, Opus 4.1 was damn expensive. It was $15 on input, $60 on output.
I didn't know about this.
So at that point, Sonnet 4.6 came out before Opus 4.6, okay? That's the only thing you need to know. And when that happened, Sonnet was like super performant, much cheaper than your expensive model. And then Anthropic did something that was crazy. They just dropped Opus 4.6 at $5 input, $25 output, okay? And now we're in a territory where we're talking about compound IQ, okay? So you have 2 choices. Run your flow on Sonnet for $3 input, or run your flow on Opus for $5. It's nearly double the price, much, much more expensive. You might think, damn, that's going to be expensive. Why should I run Opus? I should run it on Sonnet. It's going to be 2 times cheaper. Well, that is wrong for some cases. And this is what we're talking about here. I have run Sonnet, and it has burnt more than 2 times the amount of tokens to resolve the problem than Opus. And in that case, Opus is cheaper than Sonnet. This is something that Anthropic demonstrated quite a while ago when they were counting the number of tokens used to create a video game or play a video game. I forget which one it was. Opus costs less per intelligence. It costs less to get more done. So that's what we're talking about here.
What I want to say, my vision of compound intelligence is also because like we see small improvements. If I share this graph here, you can see that the improvement do not look that impressive. So the problem here in this graph is not showing like, I would love to compare Claude 4.6 Sonnet to 4.5 Sonnet. And you can think that it's not a big improvement. And like, I don't remember, but it would be 45 on the artificial analysis intelligence. So you improve by just like 1 point of IQ. Let's make it simpler. It's like the IQ of the model. But like each point of IQ improve like virtually everything that you're doing. And nowadays the models are able to do everything. Like you just like unleash them in a terminal and they can do everything. So just think that for a complex task, you are improving all the same tasks at the same time, pretty much. That's my understanding of compounding. Is just like 1 point of IQ is just improving all your workflows by an exponential. So you have just 1%, and because it improves everything at once, just has a pure exponential effect. And we see it right now in the way we are working. Like we trust these models a lot.
This is very true. I would have to add that if a model is lacking intelligence, it will make more mistakes, causing more calls, causing more mistakes, and you get to an inflection point, and everybody's talking about Opus being a moment of inflection. Opus 4.5. The compound started to show where it just takes off compared to something that would just recursively make mistakes. And that's why everybody was talking about AI slop code. And people had to read in each file if there was slop written. We've gotten to a point where people haven't acknowledged it yet, but you don't have to open up files anymore because there is less slop, because the level of IQ has gotten high enough, and each call is compounding that intelligence. And Opus is getting more stuff done with less tokens. And skills are just coming in and nailing the coffin. The skills are the scaffold that are making Opus make less mistakes. And the more you build your scaffold, the more you have a sharpshooter, and the faster you will get to build your applications. And so there we go. Guys, what's happening right now is we're going to step back here, okay? I just explained to you what this compound effect does in code, in your business, and everything. And at one point, everybody was questioning if Sonnet, Opus, they were actually bringing more value to the companies that were calling these models, or if they were just generating slop. Okay? Now, we used to be comparing these models with the price of SaaS. So this would replace a SaaS. It would replace a tooling thing that you built in your company. So you would compare having a subscription to one of these frontier models and compare it to the price of the SaaS that you built. This is now not comparing to price of software. It is comparing to price of human labor. We're not on the same scale anymore. We're not comparing a $20 per month to $20 per month of software. We're comparing $20 a month to $2,000 a month of a human that you would pay to click, 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 click data entry. Maybe not 2,000. Maybe your Filipino remote worker person that does a lot of things for you. That person has been, the water has risen to the level where they have to rethink their business model. They need to do something. They're underwater. But everybody's scared now because these agents are starting to make the water rise. And yep, labor is definitely underwater right now.
Yep. Yeah, clearly.
Now we're at a point where Anthropic is really killing it, right? And so last week we had some big news. I think it was 2 weeks ago about COBOL. What is going on here? What's the situation like, Emmer?
So Anthropic is coming up with an amount of release that is insane. I think they are like at like 10 releases per month. I don't know. Like the problem is like, what do you call a release? Like I want to share a little bit. Like let's look at the latest release of Anthropic, the auto mode. Do you think the auto mode is a release? What it does is like you can enable the auto mode and the AI is going to make sure your agent is not going rogue. Your slop monitoring your slop.
Yeah, we're creating leashes with leashes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Anthropic is the main lab I can trust with this. Of course, they can do it. This is what they call a release, a feature. They are good at communicating, I think. Can we actually call this a release? Is it a new model? Is it revolutionary?
It is practical. What is going to happen is that is going to be used by default. That's my opinion. Is it a release? Is it big? No, it's just massive. From the beginning, you're not going to be authorizing anything anymore. That is an old world thing. This will replace it. And if they have no complaints from the clients that there's some crazy stuff that happened, then they're off the leash. They can just create the confidence that users need. That's what I think. Everybody who joins Anthropic's world today will turn that on by default.
Yeah, absolutely. And I show another example here. Like here, you see like the Anthropic has done that thing with like a cybersecurity. So now you can use Claude as a cybersecurity agent. Again, here I see another like pattern. Like it's a release of Claude Code. I remember that I see CrowdStrike stock going down with it. It's funny because on the Anthropic side, this I think required not that much work. So I'm not working at Anthropic, so maybe people there will hate me to say this kind of thing, but it doesn't sound like a crazy amount of work. We could make it simple by saying it's basically just a skill. You know, a skill can contain more than just prompts. It can contain code, it can contain decision trees. But what I mean is, it doesn't sound like an insane amount of logic. It's just a big spec explaining the main model how to behave, to act as something. A little bit like the prompt engineering of the time, but just way better.
So where does this all fit in with what happened a few weeks ago with the massive drop? Notably, there was a large drop in the IBM stock, which lost 30% of its value overnight. Something like this. By the way, I bought the dip.
Talking about it before, he's really bullish on IBM, and I don't understand why. I really disagree, but
I think that they're well placed in this one. Their company builds infrastructure which it is very capable of taking on the AI demands. We need companies that will address the massive demands of AI. IBM happens to address the massive demands of AI. The pie is huge. The pie is growing. I don't see this company tanking anytime soon. And they have been around, do you know how long, Emmerich? This is one of the companies that you have no idea until you look. Do you know when they were founded?
I think in 1940, 1930, like they're really old. International Business Machines, they're really old. They were doing like a hardware like way before. And they were competing with Apple at the time and they got eaten. It's an insane company. They have an insane story.
1889.
Okay, even worse than I thought.
1889.
But for the story that you wanted to talk about.
140 years. They will not die tomorrow. What is going to happen to these companies is that they're going to reinvent themselves. And right here, what we see is Claude Code comes out with something that could put their consulting business at risk, and they had a sharp decline, which is the biggest decline since October 2020. Why is this? Because IBM, they have the biggest consultancy for COBOL, which is the oldest language that runs many systems like banks, I think airline systems, all these really, 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 really old systems, they are run on this. And if Claude Code can jump in and modernize everything, IBM is complete toast. Why would you pay for a massive consultant fee for expertise that nobody else can do if Claude Code can do it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, clearly, because I guess they have a consulting business on COBOL, like specifically for their mainframe. So I guess now you just use Claude Code to do the same.
Which I don't know why it drops. Like the market works in strange ways. Why does it drop? Why does it drop on the news that Claude Code does COBOL? Has anybody tried to write COBOL without this news? Like you probably could have wrote COBOL 2 years ago with LLMs. Why does it drop now? That's a very funny thing. I would say you buy the rumor, sell the news.
I personally think it's also possible that it's we talked about it a bit earlier, like the compound of intelligence. And now I think COBOL, when I don't know if you touched a bit to the COBOL code bases, but it requires to update pointers here. Like it's kind of hard to keep up. That's the only difference with COBOL. Like you need to basically you need to load in context a lot of things to actually update COBOL. And I think the models nowadays are really good at it. They can manage that amount of context. And I think they might, like, let's say you try to ask question for COBOL in 2024, maybe it would not have worked. But now the fact that they can fix and work on tasks that are like 10 hours, 18 hours, yeah, now they can definitely do COBOL.
Okay, for everybody here, just want you to know, maybe not the best time to become a COBOL specialist, code writer. Maybe you should do this, but as a agent orchestrator. COBOL agent orchestrator? The next $1 million job? Maybe. There's tons of shit that's built on COBOL. That could be a very interesting one. Hey, Emmerich, what about we open up our COBOL agency? That would be insane.
It would be the best moment to do it.
Go look at the fees that IBM charges and you say, you know what, look, we're going to be generous. And you usually pay $2 million for the job. We'll only take $1 million. How is that?
I mean,
yeah, probably.
You, Remy, we were talking about this. Like, Anthropic is again in the news. Have you heard about this new AI model, Mythos?
I saw this one, and I promised my dad that I was going to talk about this in the podcast today. I'm very happy we're talking about this one today.
Like, what do you know about it? Have you heard about it?
I honestly have only seen Instagram bullshit and Twitter, we're so cooked kind of talk.
No, but like again, the exact same manner of the COBOL, like a lot of cybersecurity stock went down. Though I have to say right now, because of the war, all those stocks are going down. So maybe it's not really the best correlation. So from what I heard, but it's only rumors, and of course it's like a leak, and I have my own opinion on it's a leak. But Mythos is supposed to be a tier on top of Opus, and it's so good that it's able to find 0 days in software better than anything else. Anthropic thinks that if they release it right now, like bad actors will use it to attack the systems of everywhere in the world. I find it's like a little bit of the same situation as OpenAI in 2024 did IDEs. After 2 years, I think IDEA, with his new startup, he did not see anything. Not as something life-changing. He's like a super smart individual, but basically he didn't put it in prod, a new architecture that is changing the world. So I just think it's just a rumor, in my opinion. They might have a better checkpoints, but it's not life-changing at all.
I'm going to go further. I'm going to say, I'm going to be the one who's going to take the risk here and call this absolute bullshit, complete retarded bullshit. Like, this is stupid. This is useless rumors. I don't give a damn about this. Only show me things that come out, please. I don't care. Why are we all speculating on a new model? It is all to attract the attention over to Anthropic. They are going to they're going to be kings of the charts. And they even have a model that would blow the charts if they wanted to. It's like a nuclear bomb. You know, we can drop it, but like we're scared to drop it. Bro, you would drop it if you were in trouble, and I don't think that it's ready. This thing, I think it's bullshit. So can you tell me why this would be any different from Opus? Why would they create a new family? We just showed earlier in the podcast that there are 3 families: small, medium, large. This is what, extra large?
Yeah, extra large. I have a comment from you. You know, you shared with me on our messaging this fund. Do you remember that fund?
Yep.
So this fund has 20% exposure on Anthropic. So that doesn't mean how much, but it has 20% exposure on Anthropic. And this thing did, see how it did? It got parabolic and then it lost everything. I just think it shows right now, this soy jack meme of people pointing at something. Right now, people are searching hype in fucking everything. And this is it. Mythos is this. People are searching hype in everything they can. And maybe Anthropic got an extra large model they want to release. OpenAI has, it's called GPT Pro 5.4 Pro, but you're paying a crazy amount for it, and people are not using it that much. You also have DeepThink for Google. People are not using it that much.
I want to say,
hard.
Why would Anthropic get into that when they're doing so well with what they're doing? The reason why they're not dropping Mythos is not because it is dangerous to the world. Guess what? It's dangerous to Anthropic, because if they drop it and it flops, it will get distilled, the Chinese will eat it up, and they will have free models that do Anthropic level work, full stop. I think I just said the situation here. This model is dangerous for Anthropic because they would just die. They would lose their ranking.
You know what? You are introducing perfectly the next subject. I want to talk about one company that we were super hype about, I think 1 year ago. Do you remember about Cursor?
Oh yeah, I remember them.
Cursor is doing this amazing new model. Have you heard about Composer 2?
What? I thought they released Kimi 3.
No, because Remy, you talked to me about distillation, and here it's the best news about distillation. So you have Cursor that came a little bit earlier on Twitter, and they say, bam, we are now Frontier Lab. Look at us. And they show something called Cursor Bench. So they literally have their own bench, and they decide who has the best score. And they are like, wow, look at us. We are better than Opus 4.6 high. And I mean, it's so funny. Everybody was dropping this Obama giving this own medal meme, because basically they are competing on their own benchmark against the other models. But yeah, you said it. At the beginning, they were trying to stay mysterious. We have our model, we pre-train. They were saying, we spend so much money in pre-training and all. And these motherfuckers, they just took the base of Kimi 2.5 and they added some post-training reinforcement learning on it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's probably effective. I'm just saying that it's really not honest here.
Nobody's. It's like a disgrace. Emmerich, we should also do note this down in startup idea number 2 of the podcast. I think we should create our own Kimi model and sell it to our subscribers, saying that it is the best, and we have the watch out bench performance, and watch out coin is to the moon.
I mean, Cursor has something that we don't. Cursor has a user base, and they have a harness. And
they have money.
Yeah, they also have money, of course. And what they do, they take the traces, the highly detailed traces they have, and they are able to understand when, I would say, a session is a success or when a session is a failure when trying to they look at this developer. Did that developer leave Cursor after 5 minutes, or are they still engaging with it for 1 hour? So they know when it's actually working. And so they can do reinforcement learning on these sessions based on Kimi 2.5. I just really disliked that they are calling themselves a lab while clearly they're just borrowing Chinese technology here.
And Chinese technology, we got into that last time, is that they're borrowing Anthropic. So everybody's just running behind Anthropic.
Exactly.
Anthropic is running and everybody's taking from them and distilling down to Composer 2.
I think it just shows that you when this happens, when Composer 2 comes out, you need to invest in Anthropic, because basically they are the only people leading. And So you have the overlaps. I think OpenAI and Google are doing an amazing job, and they're actually training their own models. But like doing this kind of thing won't lead you really far, in my opinion. You will just burn cash to get like a decent model, but in the end, you will never reach the state of the art.
So just one step back here. For everybody who doesn't know what distilling means you take a larger model and then you just pour the brain into a smaller recipient, and you serve a partial brain. So like I would maybe even call it, you take a brain and you take part of the brain and then you use that as a model itself. You're dropping down on the number of dimensions used as inside the matrix of the model, right? And it is, some people say as performant. I would say my personal opinion is that is bullshit. You distill for a reason. You distill because it gets cheaper. Well, you don't distill everything. Otherwise, the quality just drops. Actually, Emmerich, do you have any idea what is the rate of distill to quality, like distill to IQ? I don't know. What does the curve look like? Is it a logarithmic curve? Do you distill a tiny bit? You take 10% away from the brain and you lose, 10% of intelligence?
The problem is I don't have an easy answer for you. The problem with distillation is not that it's losing 10%, 20%. It's just sometimes it just do not connect the neurons the same. So basically, you take really like a genius. You take Albert Einstein and you take like a random guy that has never studied anything. And Albert Einstein is writing an equation. The stupid guy is just like copying the equation on the whiteboard. So you will be able to do that specific task easily because it just like reproduce the equation. But like if you want to generalize the equation, it doesn't work as well. You had good examples in the past of like distilled models that would like do, I don't know, counting the letters in strawberry perfectly. But if they want to count letters in another words, it would not work. So they just are not able to generalize. They are really good at copying one task, but would not be able to generalize. So so it's not really a percent of IQ. Like, I mean, if you talk just about distillation, and I don't think that's the only thing that Cursor is doing here. In the paper, they show that they do behind the reinforcement learning, etc. If you just count on distillation, you're losing probably 99% of like the IQ. Probably. That's why nobody's actually only doing distillation.
That's interesting. This is very linked to something I listen to. I don't know if anybody on the pod listens to All In Podcast. The last live session was with a few friends. We'll talk about one of the friends later who owns some kind of rapper company who is profitable. We'll get into that one. But this distillation thing reminds me of the discussion that they had with our French friend who has a very strong French accent, running a company called Mistral, which has been out of the the charts for some years since they've started.
You know what? I'm sad because we are both French. We should be proud of them, but it seems they are playing a different game. They play a game of just nationalization. I think Chinese are so much better than them.
I'm French and I'm proud of France. I'm not proud of this company. I know some inside information on how it was formed, and I know about some insider trading, and I know about public funding, millions of euros that were spent to build this thing. I know about the whole thing. It's bullshit. This is if this company was in the US, they would be
wiped.
Yeah, they would be wiped. That's the thing. And so,
but
I don't believe in socialism, or I'm not proud of the product of a subsidized production here. I do believe that Anthropic is not subsidized by public. They're subsidized by private, and that means that there are people who are backing this with all their lives, and if the thing drops, everybody's going to die poor. This thing, if it goes to shit, it will be public money. People who are plumbers who don't even know what the fuck a terminal is are paying for this, and it is worse than the privately funded companies. So yeah, anyway, that was a rant. I'm just going to comment on what the guy said. You can distill a very large model into a small model with synthetic data. That's our guy. And however, you need human signal at some point if you want to get a new model. You cannot base a smaller model on just pure synthetic data from a larger model above. And so that's where the IP comes. The IP today will come from human signal. Like you said, the composer model is built from, did this session work or did it not work? Every model that will be built in the future will be monitoring human categorization. And that's the way it is.
I don't know why they invite that guy. The guy has the models that are in the leaderboard, like at the bottom, but they're still inviting him. I don't know. It's like, I don't even know. I don't know why he's relevant.
I'm not a big fan. I thought that they said a few generalist opinions. You guys can listen to it. They said that OpenClaw is not such a big deal and that the world will not work on OpenClaw. Dude, like, I don't know what to tell you. My world is changing thanks to OpenClaw. And a lot of people will change the way they build their systems thanks to OpenClaw. And you're telling us from like the 20th position in the rankings that I will change the world.
I will change the world.
When Anthropic talks, you listen. When OpenAI talks, you listen. When Elon Musk talks, you listen. Now let's actually get into our little friend. When Perplexity CEO talks, do you listen, Emmerich?
Yeah, we had this
Do you
debate.
listen?
We had this debate with Remy because Perplexity is, I'm not gonna lie, at least they are trying something. They wanted to disrupt Google. I mean, it felt logical. 2023, 2024, Google was like struggling and they were like, we are going to disrupt them. The thing is, Google has an immense amount of capital, immense amount of research and development, a ton of like super talented people, and Perplexity does not have any of it. So they have to hack their way in, and I think they do not do much, pretty much. It's like they are punching air. I know, Remy, you are using it. You are using it a little bit, Remy, but they really play the rapper. And I asked you yesterday, what is their IP? Like, what is their proprietary IP? I think at some point they had a model actually. Perplexity had a search model, but I'm really wondering what is their IP nowadays. And I think they're going to get their lunch eaten by all the labs, just by default because they do not propose anything.
I used Perplexity. Let's also just mention one thing. I think a lot of people that listen to our podcast are developers and they have maybe used Perplexity API once in their lives, and maybe they also got the free upgrade to Pro. I'm thinking a lot of people got the free update to Pro because I was seeing promo codes everywhere, and I have at least 3 myself. Like they're subsidized, these people.
Yeah.
And so they had a $5 per month, and I'm being very cheapo here, talking about the $5 per month API usage that came with the Pro usage. But guess what? There was $5 per month. I started building on top of their API. 1 month in, they rug pulled the $5 without saying anything. So a lot of people had signed up to use that as an API in their systems to try it out, like me. And we ended up getting rug pulled with 0 mention. So we had to pay $5 per, well, you have to pay as you go now for the API cost. Okay, so what the fuck is my Pro? What does Pro do? Why do I have Pro? What is...
Weren't they giving it for free if you had PayPal or something?
They were doing it for everybody. So that's the thing is you said, what is their IP? Their IP was the ability to subsidize pro users. And the guy goes on, we have 20 million users. Blah, blah, blah. How many million pro accounts did you give out, my friend? Where did I get my pro thing from? Got it from Mercury Bank. I had a benefit. It was like at the bottom of the benefit list of something that I'm paying, like my accounting firm. Oh, by the way, you get 1 year free Perplexity. That's how free it was. And so it's an aggressive way to get people onto their thing. But guess what, Emmerich? What is their IP? The answer to the question, I don't know. And I don't know is very, very nice because I think that they don't have any IP.
Like, you know what? I'm just wondering now that you are talking, do you think they count in their revenue the pro subscription that they gave for free? I'm wondering, like, when they give you $20 subscription, does it mean that they add $200 to their annual recurring revenue? Did they do this?
That's a very good question. We should ask them. I mean, there's a lot of scamming going on, a lot of fraud. I've heard of fraud in Minnesota. I've heard of fraud in California. Is there fraud in Perplexity? Are they going to call this a win and defraud the people that have invested in their business? I'm very angry because I have great ideas. I really don't think that a AI browser makes any sense. The way we're going right now is we won't have browsers as much in the future. And these people got a hall pass. They got access to cash, access to money. They have no real users. They have no real money coming in. And they have a lifeline now because they're building what we call, we'll get into it, right? A computer by Perplexity, right? Why are they building computer? Why? It's very simple. The answer is very simple. Claude code, CLIs, MCPs, chat. Who's going to be using a browser? Why would I want to bring around with me a browser when I can just ask an agent to do automated tasks for me? So this is the answer to bankruptcy for them. What's your thoughts, Emmerich?
I have to recognize, I respect that though. The fact they can pivot as fast. Like basically they were initially a search startup and they're trying to compete with Claude Code. It is, like, I have to respect this. Like, I think they can get revenue because a lot of people had their $20 subscription free, and so now they can get Claude Code at home for free. So they might get customer, by just having the foot in the door. So I have to recognize it's not too bad. And it seems like they also include like a computer that is running. So you actually have a computer that is running, but it's the same actually for Claude Code. So they basically did a clone of Claude Code, then called it Perplexity Computer. I mean, it's probably smart. They might make more revenue. I just, again, doubt that with the amount of funding, they can compete with any lab. So at some point, they will fall off again.
So we had this discussion last night when I was saying, hey, Emmerich, we need to get on the pod to talk about all this stuff, okay? The discussion we had was, so this guy gets on a podcast. He's getting free publicity. I don't know why he's invited on to All In podcast, to be honest. He's all cool. Yeah, nah, we're positive. By the way, the guy said, we are making profit on every penny that is spent, but we're not a profitable company. So maybe that's the answer right there with the free stuff, all right? But then they say we have massive profit with computer. They say we have millions of users using computer, Perplexity Computer. All right. Let's think, Emmerich. We are AI guys, specialists, to be honest. And everybody on this podcast who listens to it are specialists because we're at the very edge, right? We love this stuff. Claude Code, Cursor, we've tested it all these frontier models as well. Now, do you know anybody using computer?
I mean, I wish if some people can say if they use Perplexity Computer, we are really curious because we saw a huge push for like Perplexity Computer on Twitter, but I'm sometimes wondering if it's actually organic.
Do you know anybody who knows what computer is, including me? Because to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what it is. I think I know because I'm smart enough to understand where the market's going. Oh yeah, they did some kind of Claude remote control. You have OpenClaw. I have an idea what it is, but does anybody know exactly what it is? And he's claiming million. I know a lot of people in AI, right? If I ask them if they've ever used this, I'm pretty sure no. So a lot of this is bluff. A lot of this is bullshit. I'm just gonna let it go. If ever organically I attracted to computer because I need it in a flow or something, I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys about it. But let me tell you one thing. OpenClaw is the future. It has the momentum to push all products out of the way. Computer will be, this is my take, computer will be forgotten and they will end up building on top of OpenClaw, which will be the standard. And so, number one, the dude who is running the show at Perplexity, he will bow down to OpenClaw. And number two, the dude who runs Mistral, who was saying OpenClaw is not scalable, blah, 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 is not scalable. He will also bend down and he will be selling OpenClaw instances in less than 6 months. Everybody will have an OpenClaw solution. That's my opinion right there. I think it was such a big moment that they have 2 years in front of them and OpenAI just bought into their future. At any price, they said, we don't give a damn what the price is. We're so underwater that we need the next thing. That's what's going on.
The last thing I wanted to chat about in this podcast, and I think it makes me really excited for the future, is we talked about a lot of wrapper. So you have some labs that are doing real work. And one of the work that I see a lot is to beat ArcAGI. So the idea is basically for a model to be able to be AGI level, you would need to be able to generalize anything. ArcAGI is a leaderboard that gives, I would say, game. Like it's like some kind of Tetris type of games, and you are arriving in front of the game and you are explaining nothing, and you need to understand what to do to win the game. Basically, at the beginning, it was like in 2023, nobody was able to beat ArcAGI. And then, so it was the first one, ArcAGI 1. Now every model is maxing it. Then ArcAGI 2 happened, and now almost every model is almost maxing it. And what makes me super happy, they finally released ArcAGI 3, and nobody is even close to do even 1%.
Okay. This is unbelievable, right? Emmerich, for someone who has no damn idea, for once, like, I'm going to shut my mouth. I talk a lot here. I don't know exactly what you're talking about here with ArcAGI. Can you show me an example of what this game looks like?
Yeah, let's go. Let's.
All right. So what you have in front of me is ArcAGI 3. This is number 3.
Yes.
And what is the difference between ArcAGI 1, 2, and 3? It looks all the same or what?
Yeah, they looked approximately the same. It was always like this kind of 2D game where the AI needs to understand what's the point of the game. Yeah, absolutely.
And can you tell me what is the percentage of human winning ArcAGI 3?
100%.
Okay.
Like literally 100%. If the human is playing enough, 100%.
Okay, so if the human plays enough, how long does a human need to play for them to understand how to win this game?
I mean, right now I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly myself how this game works. Oh, I think I understand. I need to get the same shape. And now if I go back here, see? So as a human, it seems like at some point you understand and you're able to generalize enough. It would not be as clear for an AI, pretty much.
So my question here is, this seems pretty easy. I think you can. No, wait. I think you need to go get the yellow thing. See?
Oh damn.
Yeah, you need to go get the yellow thing at the top left. No, at the top left, I think. But
Oh my god, we are playing already on the pod.
You need more yellow. You see? This is a really good example to everybody. So we just, as humans, understood that you go here.
Yeah, it gives you energy.
And then you go back.
Yeah. And here you will be able to switch. Yeah. It's actually interesting because I think it adds complexity. Yes. And now.
Yeah, but I think you wasted one. You should have gone down. I think you're going to be fucked. I told you. You had to do an optimization at the bottom. But this is a very interesting, very, very interesting one. So for everybody here, all right, we have agents today that are coding like crazy, right? They are able to do architecture, set up servers, do all this stuff that is based on text, okay? And then we have some image stuff as well, right? We're mastering out that. The thing is that we're getting not even 1% of the models that are able to finish this game right here. They're not able to finish.
Yeah.
And
like to get 1%, it costed $10,000 to just get to get to 0.2%, it costed $9,000.
Holy shit. Okay, so you can pay some guy to play ArcAGI 3. You say, if you win this, I'll give you €5, and that would probably be a good amount of money for playing this game. Maybe, if there's somewhere in the world where it's cheap, right? And then you ask Claude, hey, I'll give you as much money as you cost to win this game. You would think AI, he'll win this game. $9,000 in. Hey boss, I completed 1%. This goes to show, this is very, very interesting. I'm really glad you brought it up, because what will happen when it knows how to do this?
Yeah.
Maybe this is dude, I have a really cool full circle one. I think I know which model can win this one. Mythos. That's the danger.
No, so there's two problems with benchmark every time. It's now what's going to happen. ArcAGI 12 will exist, and so the lab will create a data set to be able to start understanding. So there is a human that will inject that knowledge of this benchmark in the model. Is it a good thing? Does it mean that we will have a model that is smarter because it's able to play these kind of video games? I'm not sure. But at least I'm really glad that some lab, I mean, it's not a lab, it's a company, but I'm really, really happy that the Arc Association is actually working on this, because it's way more interesting than a lot of other benchmarks. And so the next time you see, oh my God, this model is beating ArcAGI 3, please give it a little bit of credit.
I think that is a good ending to our show, because we still have a lot to go. ArcAGI 4, 5, 6, who knows what will come. AI is not yet there, and when it gets there, we have no idea. The show will go on our side. We will continue to comment as things evolve, but we're not at all at the end of AI intelligence. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
With that said, I'm super pumped, and I can't wait to get off this pod to open up my 4 terminals and just vibe it out. Thanks, everybody, and we will be back with you with the next episode. Have a good one. Ciao, everybody.